you some good words for you and your students in school. And I hope that you are enjoying some exciting times right now with your families or your students or friends and really enjoying making the most of the holiday season. I know it can be a very busy, stressful time for teachers, but so thank you for making the time to join us today. I tried to make my background look like something wintry, even though it is about 61 degrees outside. So we're going to go ahead and get started today. I know that I may have mentioned to you that we are going to, or I think I've mentioned it in the announcement, that today we're going to talk about, oh no, did I not share my stuff? Okay. I know that we're going to talk today about, all right, I will fix that. I'm getting your emails now for share requests. So that is something, I make that mistake all the time. So we're going to talk about comparison word problems. And I have a little review game for us today. I updated access to that. So by the way, I have a little review game for us today. We're going to review the types of problem solving. Yes, I will share the agenda and slides. Slides are in the agenda. There you go. And I have fixed the access to the slides. So we are going to talk about comparison word problems. We'll look at several examples from early elementary to upper elementary and middle, and we'll practice with those. I'm going to share a couple resources with you in talking about word problems and practicing on this specific type. And then I have exciting news for you. So you're going to want to hang around to the end because it involves Arrive Math. There is something that you're going to walk away with today that I think you will really enjoy. So make sure you recorded your attendance so we can get you credit. Today, we're going to specifically focus on building that understanding of instructional strategies and helping our students comprehend math word problems, specifically comparison word problems. We're going to talk about the 3 types of comparison word problems, look at each one, each of the different types at some at different grade levels, and then we'll practice making structures and seeing what we can come up with. For a lot of these, there are no right or wrong ways, so feel free to share in our space. This is a safe space. Be sure to give yourself permission to be present today. Tuck away those emails and other things that may be distracting you, if you can, and contribute to the environment. We are math teachers, and we know that in math, mistakes are made. So, if you're still just learning some of this, it's okay. I always go, when I work with these word problems instructors, I always go back and check to make sure I did the right thing sometimes, especially as the problems are getting more complex. So feel free to share and to contribute and to take those risks. And just tend to your personal needs as they arise today. So for our inclusion activity today, can you tell me what the best holiday movie ever is? And if you are not a Christmas celebrator, it's okay. If there's a movie that comes out around this time of year that you like to watch, or if there's a movie that relates to whatever holidays you celebrate, I'd love to hear about that as well. So drop it in the chat or unmute and tell us the best one. White Christmas, Home Alone. I will accept Die Hard as an answer. Yep. It's a Wonderful Life, the original Home Alone. I love the original Home Alone. Those are awesome. Anyone else? Mine is Christmas Vacation. I can watch that every year. I start in like November watching Christmas Vacation. I think it's just the perfect picture of everybody's imperfect family. I love it. It's great. And of course, Chevy Chase does a good job in that movie as well. Does anyone watch A Christmas Story? If anyone watches that and you have HBO Max, there is a movie called A Christmas Story. And that is the best movie. It's so funny. There's a movie called Christmas Story. And it is Ralphie. He's all grown up, which is, I can't remember his name. But actually, he had been involved in film and film production for quite a while after he starred in that movie. And he is telling some of the stories as an adult. And he actually goes back home to the house that he lived in. And just another fun fact, that house is in Columbus, Ohio, if you ever want to go visit it. Some of the outside scenes were filmed there. and a few of the like scenes on the porch with the dogs. They were filmed there. So it's really interesting to go see that. But they go back to the house and he gets to see his friends and Scott Farkas, the kid he beats up and all that. So if you get a chance to watch that movie, I highly recommend it. It was great. But yeah, Christmas Story is awesome. So last time we met together, we reviewed the three major problem types. We talked about part, whole, joining and separating problems, and then we talked about comparison. I've been running across in looking at curriculums, a lot of comparison problems. So I want to give you an opportunity to share these because this is where we get into a little bit more complex. And of course, we had a wonderful time of sharing resources, and I shared those out last time. I will make sure and share them in our SES math group as well, so that you can have access to them, because there were some really good resources shared, especially some good posters that related to problem types. So I'm just looking at the list and trying to see, I believe most of you on here are from elementary schools. So we'll look at a few upper elementary problem types, not just necessarily the early elementary ones today. Okay, but first, I have a pop quiz for you, and I actually have a prize for the winner. So if you could, everyone open Kahoot. You can either open it on my game pen's loading here. Either open it on your computer at kahoot.it or scan the QR code with your phone. Either way, you're going to want to record your name. Going to want to record your real name so that I can get your prize to you, and we will go by whoever lands on the podium at the end. I know sometimes it can be a little bit of a speed race, but we want to go by whoever lands on that podium at the end. Waiting for about 4 more. About 3 more. All right, we got about 1 more to join and we'll get started. And I'm assuming by now everyone knows how to play Kahoot, how it works, and all the ways to click. There is an advantage to being fast, but you also want to be correct. So I'll go ahead and get us started. So basically what you're going to be looking at is a type of word problem and selecting the type that it is. So thinking about the type that this is. Joe has some toy cars. He bought 45 more. Now he has 80 cars. How many cars did he start with? Is that joining result unknown, joining change unknown, joining start unknown, or part, whole, part unknown? Awesome. That is one where we do not know the start. We have a start unknown. So very good. So the reason we don't know this, we didn't know the start here was he has some toy cars. He had some cars. We don't know how many he had to start with. The word some there kind of tells us he had some cars. He got 45 more. Then he had 80 was the big number. So we had a start unknown or initial unknown. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Russ has some rocks. He had 124 rocks. Kim gave him some. Now he has 143. How many did Kim give him? So it's join change unknown, join result unknown, start unknown, or separate start unknown. Think about what happened in the problem, the action that went on. Awesome. So yeah, if we look at the structure of this problem, he's going to start with 124 rocks. Then Kim's going to give him some more. That's the change that we don't know. We don't know the change that happened or how many Kim gave him, but we know he has 143 rocks to end with. Okay. There's our scoreboard. Number 3. May has 182 straws. She's giving some to her friends. How many does she have left? So think about what she's doing here. What action would giving some away be? Awesome. Yes. Action, result unknown. The action is separating. So if you're giving something away, you're separating. And these are really good. I know when we talk about keywords, I think it's important to teach your kids the key actions that happen in the problems so that they can kind of figure out what's going on with it. So they can say, oh, okay, yeah, giving some away is separating. Oh, we had a leaderboard change. Dion's on top. All right. Megan has 445 colored marbles. 325 are blue and the rest are red. How many marbles are red? So there wasn't really an action that took place here. We're just comparing some parts. Think about what we know and what we don't know. Do we know the whole, or do we know the parts, or do we not know the whole? Awesome. Yes, we did not know a part. We knew the whole. The whole was the 445 colored marbles that Megan had. We know some are red and some are blue. And the word some can be, when you're talking with students, some are red, some are blue. That's a part. Some is a part. The whole is the total. So it's part, whole, part unknown. All right. This is going to be a close one. We got lots of leaderboard changes here. Okay, Ned has 24 books. He has 43 fewer than Bob. How many does Bob have? So think about what's happening here. We're talking about two quantities here. What are we doing? Think about, do you know more? Do you know the smaller or do you know the larger? Right. We did not know the larger here. We knew Ned had the fewest books because it tells us he had 43 fewer than Bob. So how many books does Bob have? Is what we don't know. We don't know the larger unknown. Good. Okay. There are 42 M&Ms in a bag. 3 kids want to share them equally. How many M&Ms would each kid get? So think about what we're doing here. It's division. Think about what division we're doing and what do we want to know? Do we want to know number of groups or group size? Yes, good. We don't know the group size. We know that we have 3 kids. We know the number of groups, but we don't know the group size. Okay, we're almost done. So let's see what's happening with our leaderboard. All right, Allison's still in the lead. 2 more to go. Megan has 15 cookies. She's going to put 3 in each bag. How many bags can she fill? Very good. We see group number unknown. So we knew that the group size was going to be 3, and she filled, we would know that the group number she could fill would be 5 bags. All right. This is the last question. This is the one where it always tells you Be ready. Allison's got a streak with 6 in a row. All right, here's our last one. Beth has 562 marbles and Amy has 345. How many more does Beth have than Amy? Think about whether we know our larger, smaller, or our difference here. Yep, we don't know the difference here, and we're going to look at some of those types of comparison problems today. So let's see who our winners are. Third place, I believe that's Lisa. Cassandra second, and Allison's in first. I love these little avatars it puts in there for you. Okay, thank you all for playing along. Let me turn that music off. And Allison, the question I have for you is, where do you like to get your coffee or treat? Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts?
Starbucks.
Okay, Starbucks. All right, now there will be a Starbucks gift card coming your way.
Oh, you're so sweet. You'll have to do that. Thank you.
Now, I like to reward everybody for their participation, just like we do our kids, you know, with candy this time of year, right? So, all right, awesome. Y'all did a great job. I hope that helps you understand some of the types of word problems as we're beginning to learn this and explore it together. So when we talk about comparison word problems, they involve relationships versus actions. So joining and separating involves somebody giving someone something, somebody picking something up, finding them, taking them away. And the part whole do not involve any kind of action. They just kind of compare things. So when we talk about comparisons involve relationships. And we're going to have 3 types of relationships. We're going to have a larger unknown, a smaller unknown, or a difference unknown. So it's usually involving somebody having more and somebody having less, somebody going traveling more miles, somebody traveling fewer miles, somebody going faster, somebody going slower. Sometimes we know those 2 quantities, like in the last one we saw, we knew the larger, we knew the smaller, but we didn't know the difference. Sometimes we know the larger and we know the difference, but they're asking us for the smaller. So remember that we may see words like less than, more than, how many more, less, fewer. So keywords are sometimes tricky. So really help your students to comprehend the problem type. What are some of the things that our kids do when they see words like more than? And they're looking at some word problems and they see words like more than. What are some things our kids do?
Well, our kids, if it's kid sees more, oh, I'm adding. You want to know how many more?
Yeah, they're going to take all the numbers in the problem and just add them all together. And if they see less than, they're going to subtract. And how many more, how many less, how many fewer? They might start subtracting. So that's why it's important to, rather than teach our kids keywords, we all had, I know I've done it, and I think there is some value in teaching some keywords. We had the posters around our room with the symbols and all the words on them that mean all the things. But it's more important to teach our kids problem types. And then if they become aware of that problem type, they can start setting up the correct graphic organizer. So before we get into examples, I'm going to invite you to do a couple things. You can open a Jamboard on your computer. You can open a Sketchpad. If you've ever used a Sketchpad, I'll put the link right here. I like Sketchpad a little bit better because it's a little bit more user-friendly and you can make the backgrounds different colors. So if I share one I've pulled up here, I think, yeah, I made myself a pretty nice blue background. And so you can use your computer stylus and just write on it. A lot of fun with different colors. I like that's why I like it a little bit better than Jamboard. So you can open one of those. You can open a Jamboard, or you can just grab a sheet of paper And I'm going to kind of have you work through some examples and trying these on your own, thinking like you would want to teach your students to set up structures and graphic organizers for these. So let's start with first grade. So Carrie's building a tower with 6 blocks, and Alex is building a tower with 4 blocks. How much taller is Carrie's tower? So what kind? Difference unknown, larger unknown, or smaller unknown? Drop it in the chat. What do you think? Is it larger unknown, smaller unknown, or difference unknown? Drop in the chat what you think it is. Okay. Good. Yeah, this is a difference unknown problem. So on your paper, or your sketch pad or your Jamboard, whatever you're using, go ahead and draw out what you think the structure would look like. What would those what graphic organizer would you use for this? There are really honestly no right or wrong answers in these types of problems. There's a lot of different ways to set up structures and graphic organizers. I've gone around like with problems very similar to this and found like 3 or 4 different ways. So they just encourage you, a lot of the people, the researchers say, just be consistent if you're teaching your students the same thing. So take a few minutes and see what kind of structure you would draw for that. Would anyone like to share or to talk about what they did, what they came up with? I'd be glad to let you share your screen, or you can just talk through what you did.
I can talk through mine. I don't think it's right, but
Okay, go ahead.
I did just a structure equality, like the box, you know, the one box on top with the one on the bottom split in 2. And I did Carrie's 6 on top. And then I did Alex as one of the parts on the bottom with 4. And then a question mark in the other one. Because that's
perfect. That would be, yep, that would be perfect. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, let's see, I've got to start a new page here. So I'll show what you did, but yes, you did exactly right. What one of the things I was looking at too, they said when kids are in the concrete phase at this age, have them line up 6 blocks and have them line up 4 blocks, and then they can start saying, well, how many more, how many less? So great. So yeah, the answer would be 2. So for how do I clear the page? No, I'm trying to clear a page here. Got to go through it all. I'll figure that out. Oh, okay. I see it now. All right. So if we, yes, what you just said there was 6 on the top. We have a part on the bottom, which is 4. And remember, when we talk about structures of equality, we want both sides of the equation or both parts to be equal. So if we're thinking about what would make this equal, then yes, there's a question mark here, and that would be 2 blocks. Okay. All right. Any questions about that problem or any of the structures that go along with that? Okay, let's get a little bit more complex. For some reason, kids love it when you talk about money. So drop in the chat, which one is this? Jim has $7. Kate has 4 more than Jim. How much money does Kate have? Larger unknown, smaller unknown, or difference unknown? Larger, smaller, or difference unknown? Yep, we're seeing here that Kate has 4 more than Jim. And you know, kids, when they see this more than kind of problem, a couple things they're going to do. They're either going to grab 7 and 4 and add them together, which would mean they were right, or they're going to either do 7 minus 4, which is 3, and then we get the wrong answer. So spend a few minutes setting up a structure on your Jamboard or Sketchpad or a piece of paper. And I would love for someone to volunteer to share their screen.
Quick question, how do you erase on the sketch pad? I'm sure
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I used to know.
Yes.
Because I used this a lot before we found Jamboard and virtual learning.
I have to answer my phone. I'll be right back.
I think on the right-hand side of the sketch pad, there is like an undo. There's arrows.
Yeah.
And
That'll undo your drawings.
it says there's I think I clicked on it and it got rid of mine.
So if you don't want to click because you do several things, another thing you could do is go down here to new and hit color and then click create, and that will create a new one. And if you want to put your pretty color in the background, you can do that as well. So either way, that will do that. You can hit undo, undo, undo. There's an eraser somewhere. There used to be an eraser on here somewhere. You can put pictures in there too. Okay, would anyone like to share their screen for this problem? Jim has $7. Kate has 4 more than Jim.
I could show my picture if you can see it. All right.
Okay, let me go ahead.
All right, so someone had $7.
Mm-hmm.
And someone had 4 more, so I drew another block and put 4 in it. And then my question is all of that together. So I drew the rectangular box at the top.
Okay, so that would mean that Kate has $11.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, great. Yeah, another way to look at this too is we don't know Kate's. Whoops, now let me draw. We don't know Kate's amount. Kate's on the top. We know that, and I like labels. Some people don't label them. I like labels. And then who was the other? What was the other person's name? Jim. Okay, Jim had $7. So I know that Jim had part of Kate's, which was $7. The other part unknown is that the part that I did not know was how much Kate had all together, but I knew she had $4 more. So either way, when you put these $7 more together, you can find out that Kate is $11. So the either way is perfectly fine. It's just there are a lot of different ways to solve these problems, depending on how the age your students are or how you want your students to look at them. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing that. Okay. For some reason, I start talking about money. Kids love money. We start talking about money. Mary has 14 cents more than Angela. Mary has 25 cents. How much money does Angela have? Smaller, larger, or difference unknown? Just drop in the chat. Smaller, larger, difference unknown. Who's got more money here? Okay, in this case, let me start a new one. I can't do that. Well, it's not cooperating with me right now. Okay, so in this case, what we see that, and I know it, sometimes it takes a few reads to realize what's going on here, but we know who has more money here, Mary or Angela? Who has more money, Mary or Angela? Drop it in the chat or unmute and tell me. This is where they really start tricking our kids. So this is where we really want to teach them to analyze the problem. Oh, my bad. Okay. All right. Who has more money here, Mary or Angela? Yeah, if we really start to look into these problems and digest it, and it might take 20 minutes to digest one of these problems with some of your students, but that's what we really want them to look at here. I want you to think about who has more money in this one. Oh, well, Mary has 14 cents more than Angela, but Mary has 25 cents. So that's got to be more than what Angela has. Have those discussions, do those think alouds and talk alouds with your students and encourage them to talk and think aloud. I know at the end of the day, we are so tired of talking and we make those kids tired of talking. So get them into the conversation. So if I'm looking at this problem here, I see that Mary has 25 cents. And it told me that 25 cents that she has, I'm not going to write it the way you're supposed to, but is that 25 cents that she has was 14 cents more than Angela's. So I'm going to take off 14 cents of Angela's money right here. Okay. This is Angela right here. She has 14 cents left. So I'm going to take away 14 cents from that 25. And how much does that leave me? Yep, that leaves me with 11 cents. So I can see there that she has the smaller amount. And if you actually do the action of actually taking away that 14 cents off of it, then you can see that there's 11 left. Another good thing about when you set these up, kids can really kind of check their work and see if it makes sense. I'm like, oh, does 14 and 11 add up to 25? Yeah, it does. A couple other ways you can think about this too is 25 minus 14 or 14 plus what would give me 25. So there's two math sentences we can make from this. 25 minus 14 gives me 11, or 20. There's an undo button. 14 cents plus what would give me 25. Okay. So just think about, think about the thinking that you need to do with your students in these. If they're tricking some adults, they're probably tricking kids too. So don't let them fall into the traps. We used to call them shark problems. Okay, so now we're going into upper elementary and middle. And I didn't mean to put 2 on this page. So I don't know why I did this. Let me fix this. Okay, so James has $2.38. Mike has 77 cents more than James. How much money does Mike have? Larger, smaller, or difference unknown? I'm only going to give you one more after this. Then there's one that's a challenge. And then I'm going to show you something exciting. So larger, smaller, or difference unknown? Yep. James has that $2.38. And Mike has 77 cents more. Does anyone want to talk about how they would organize this in a graphic organizer, or what kind of structure you would do?
Well, would you do it similar, because you have your two parts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Even though
And
it's the
okay.
larger that's unknown, but you would still set it up, right, with the two unknowns on the bottom.
Yeah. So what do we know? We do know what? The $2 and
Is it 38 cents, I think?
38 cents that James had, or was it James?
I know. Okay.
Yeah, it was James.
Yes.
It's late in the day that James has. And
Yes.
what did it tell me about Mike?
Mike has more.
Had 77 cents more, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So then what math could I do here to figure this out?
Well, you could add James and Mike together, right?
Yep. Yep. You would add $2.38 and 77 cents. You could think about what number, take away 77 cents gives me $2.38. But either way there, you would see that it's $3.15. Okay. And don't be afraid, if your kids are still in that concrete phase of learning, get out some manipulatives. Get out, line them up, get out some money, get out those base 10 blocks, whatever works for your kids. That would be, whatever works is great too. Structures don't have to just be the concrete or the representational graphic organizers that we do. They can be manipulatives. They can be any type of drawing or picture that we want to represent them with. Okay, so this is upper elementary and middle. Thomas has a pool that's 240 yards long. Erica's pool is 1/4 the size of Thomas's. How many yards long is Erica's pool? Larger, smaller, or difference unknown? This is where in middle school last time we talked about, we're getting into those fraction, division, operations with fractions. And we all know that kids hate them. So what do we not know here? Larger, smaller, or difference? Okay, got some difference there. I mean, smaller. Yeah, we don't know the smaller one in this situation. So I do know that this pool, his pool, was 240 yards long. Now, when you start talking to your students about what fractions mean, 1/4 divides this into how many parts? Or fourths divide this into how many parts?
4.
4 parts. Yep. So when we start talking to our kids about what fractions mean, which is so important, and we start using those Marilyn Burns fraction kits, you can actually use these for that, or cut up some fraction strips for that. We see that, and mine are not to scale, but we see that we are dividing this into 4 parts. So we can think about this a couple of ways. 240 times 1/4. So I'm looking for 1/4 of 240, or 240 divided by 4, because I'm dividing it into 4 parts, which would end up being 60 yards. And, all students there's a lot of different ways to tackle word problems. And, for years, we've tried to teach one way. Teach your students that I can't hear you. I couldn't understand you. I'm sorry. We teach our kids that there are multiple ways to solve the problem. So in this way, they're understanding that 240, 1/4 of 240 is 60 yards, and they're getting that pictorial representation of it. Okay, so I'm going to show you one more. And this might be your homework. This is, oh, there's another one there in the examples. This one is a very challenging problem here. Oh, that's okay. That's okay, Lisa. I thought that kind of sounded like an announcement there. Challenging one here. Tanya is 28 years older than Marcus. In 6 years, Tanya will be 3 times as old as Marcus. How old is Tanya now? Could be very challenging, very challenging way to set that up. That might be something we start the next PLC with, because I want to spend the last 15 minutes here showing y'all something with Arrive Math. But really, I also wanted to make the connection between, we're doing these structures in kindergarten. Yes, we're doing them all the way up through 5th grade. When we get in middle school, we still want to reinforce them. But even if this is a Math 1 or a high school problem, we don't want to lose sight of using those structures of equality that we're teaching our children, or giving them an opportunity to have access to those graphic organizers that can help them solve those much higher level problems as they go into higher level math. So, let me know if that was helpful and what questions you may have about comparison word problems. And I know that we're taking this bite by bite, little bit by little bit. This is something, I mentioned to you that we want to have a lot more training for in the future in our district. So we're just taking nibbles at a time at it. But I hope that some of you are getting comfortable enough to do this with your students.
Joy, can you go back, the one that we did before this one about the money, like somebody had $2.38 and then.
Yep.
So
there we go.
Yes, that one. Thank you. Would it be wrong to put both on the bottom? Like, does it have to come off the top?
What they try to say, when the Valerie Faulkner, I don't know if you're familiar with her, when she does these, one of the things that she really stresses is that equality, that there are going to be 2 equal parts in it. So James has $2.38. Well, Mike also has another $2.38, right? He just happens to have 77 cents more. Did that make sense to you?
No, it totally makes sense. I haven't been doing it that way, so I'm glad.
Yeah.
Because I actually went to a training with Valerie this summer at the Math Summit. And
yeah, I was at that one.
So yeah. So but I had not been putting that on the top. So I'll start. We'll phase that in. But that makes.
Do you remember
sense.
when she had us tear up the sentence strips or whatever it was? Yeah, and people were doing some of those that way. But she really wanted to stress that there were two of those parts were equal.
And I have been focusing more on that the whole thing is equal. And so I need to think about that a little bit.
Right, because James, if you made the whole thing equal, James, if your kids labeled it, James would definitely have that, or Mike would have that larger part. But it would look like to the kids, if you put 238 and 77 down here, that they both had the same amount of money, when we're clearly looking for one with a little bit more money. Make sense?
That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for asking. Any other questions? I am going to leave you with an exit ticket today. And if after we finish looking at Arrive, we are going to, I'm going to leave you with an exit ticket. Please let me know what you need. If you need further training, we're hoping to contract with someone to come into our district and do this training. If you search, Valerie Faulkner has stuff about this in her math club, but sometimes it's locked. So sometimes we can't really get to it. And I've also found a really good, in the agenda, I put a comparison word problems video in there where they show a problem and then she does the structures for it for grades 2 through 5. So that might be something you can kind of practice with and pause the video and then see if you're doing it correctly, or, and taking in what, what's being told in the video as, that. Okay, so I do have really, really good news about Arrive Math. So the thing is, we don't want you to share it with any other teachers right now. No, just special ed teachers. What's going on with Arrive is it is being, Arrive Math is being vetted through technology, and they're trying to get it into single sign-on for students and teachers. The part that's holding us up right now, I believe, is that getting it to single sign-on and getting it securely in there for our students. That's why it's been sitting in technology for so long, and they go back and forth with the company and the developers. But we all know you got tired of waiting. So what I'm going to show you today, where I'm going to give you access to the Arrive materials that are online lessons for teachers. And you have access to what some of the online stuff looks like for your students. So there are things that you can present to your students in there. But what we do not want you to do, and please do not do this, we can actually see it if you do it, because of security concerns, do not give your students accounts. Don't create your students accounts. Don't put students' names in here. And please don't let someone who is not a special education math teacher grab the code and then take one of our licenses, because we bought just enough licenses for our special ed teachers. So if you will go to my.mheducation.com, and it is going to take you to, let me see if it'll let me do it. Actually, go to mymheducation.com and log in, /login. And I'm going to try to walk you through this the best I can. While I am far away from you. So what you are going to do is you're going to create a teacher account. You're going to go here and create a teacher account. And you're going to enter your school email and your name and all the information it asks for there. So I think it's going to ask you for a registration code. So that registration code is BFJGLDJ. You can enter that code and create an account. I'll give you a few minutes. And then I will show you where to go once you get into that account.
Joy,
Yes.
I have my account still from Carteret County. When I went
You
to that
should
page
be.
and I clicked on it, I've got Number Worlds and all my access from
Okay.
there.
I'm wondering if you could go into, let me go into what my teacher page looks like. Do you have the create a class button that looks like this when you log in?
Let me see what's in there. Hang on. It says My Connect Ed McGraw-Hill Programs.
Does it have
Profile.
anything that looks like what you see on my screen, Arrive Math or anything like that?
There's an Arrive Math booster.
Yep, click that.
I can
Click that.
redeem. Okay.
Yep, you're going to want redeem that. Yes. Yep.
Okay. Let's
Yep.
see what's
So
happening.
once you're in there, and I don't have this because I've already redeemed mine, but you all are going to see a little redeem over there, Arrive Math Booster. That says redeem. That's redeeming your license for this.
So it's got me at South Lakes Elementary. I was there last year. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
because we're not putting your students in there yet.
But
so.
it gives me create a class, so I guess I'm good.
Yep, you can create a class. I just called my, so once you're in there, you will create a class. Like I have here, create a class. I just called it Math is Fun. You could call it a CCR, whatever you'd like. Once you get to that point, go ahead and create a class, but do not put any students in it, please. Does anyone have any questions or want me to see if I can have someone else project their screen? So you're redeeming the Arrive Math Booster license and creating a class.
And then for subject, is it just math?
Just use math. Yeah, it'll say math, like, yeah, all these advanced math classes, and just click math.
And then grade level, it's having us pick
one. Just pick one. It won't
Does
matter.
it matter?
No, because you're going to be giving the assignments to your students, not Arrive Math, so it doesn't. If you put like third grade, it's fine. The registration code is BFJGLDJ.
So if I select third, it won't just give me third grade lessons?
No, you have access to level. You have access to level A through everything. So yeah, I think I picked 6th grade, and I have access to all of them.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So once everyone gets logged in there, I'm going to show you.
Hey, Joy, I'm on the page where you said we go to the page. We don't create a class.
You do create a class,
do
but
create-
don't add any students.
Okay. So then create a class and then select a product. Then I do arrive
Our math booster.
booster.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And then class name. So I could put like Math Essentials.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would just use that class for all of your essentials classes. You don't have to create like 3 classes or anything.
Okay.
That's where your kids would go. So yeah, you don't have to create a class for all of your, if you have CCR pull-out groups, you don't have to create a class for all of your groups. Just create one big class and have all your kids use that one. It'd be much easier when you get data and things. Okay, so I'm going to move on. So, okay, great. All right, cool. I can see that most everybody in here has, okay, we made an account. Okay, so I'm going to go back into teacher mode here. So once you've created your class, my class here is called Math is Fun. This is what you can do as far as having access to the program right now. So when you go here to browse your course, you can look at all of the different strands that there are. Now, if anyone remembers Number World's levels and this are roughly about the same. So number and quantities, level A, level B, you have them going all the way up through level I. So you have access to any level of activities in here. So let's say I want to work on operations and I want to do like 2-digit addition. So I'm going to choose this module and open it up. If it lets me. Okay, there it goes. All right. So what this is a 2-digit addition lesson for your kids. It's going to give you an overview of the module. Going to kind of tell you what you're going to be doing, what the objectives are, and give you the vocabulary. And it's going to give you the test. Now, you can't assign it yet, but you can pull that test up. And you could, I believe you could print it and administer it to, I'm not sure if you can print it and administer it to your kids. But, oh, this is what it would look like. The kids go start assignment. You could definitely do that with some students, projecting it in the classroom. But this is what, when they get their licenses, this is what they'll be able to see on their screen. So you could certainly open it up like this, hit start assignment, and then you could project this to your class or work with a small group of kids with this if you'd like. You certainly can do that. So that's kind of like a pre-assessment that you can use. In here, there's a lesson on finding 10 more. When you see something like this, that means that this little symbol, this little orange symbol right here with the swirly thing on it, that means that the student's working on the computer. So again, that's something that you can open and you can project with. I'm not sure the add to presentation, but I think you can make a presentation with this. So you can go through right now, you have access to going through this, showing the video and doing the lesson with your groups in your classes. So you can have all that to project. You also have a guided lesson. So this is a guided lesson on finding more than a number. When it says teacher only, that's what it is. It's teacher for you, or just for you. But it gives you, I really like these lessons. These are 20-minute lessons. Number Worlds was an hour. These are 20-minute lessons, which are just really good, targeted lessons as to what our kids need. So just remember that Arrive Math is what we should be using for our specially designed instruction, meaning what we should be using to target IEP goal instruction. So it just tells you what your kids need, base 10 blocks, gives you all of the guiding questions to ask, and then kind of gives you a little bit of a conclusion to that. So they're quick, easy lessons, and then your kids can go into doing something independent with that. They've got the place value mats that you can print and use in your classroom. And then this is for English language development. These are for students who are working on with English as a second language. So these are just some helpful ideas for that. Sometimes they're really simple in here, and sometimes they're much more complex ways to do that. And then there you go. You have your adding tens to tens, count on to add. So there is a large or a whole module of lessons on teaching two-digit addition that takes you from the progression of adding 10 to a number all the way to regrouping. And, you know, you can teach a variation of this lesson. You know, they give you specific numbers to work with. I know in this one, they gave us in the guided support lesson here, they gave you very specific ones with, you know, start with 46 plus 10, conclude with 35 plus 10. But if you need to teach that lesson again on another day, you can still use those same guided questions, but just change it up a little bit in your instruction. So I hope you're excited to see Arrive Math, and I hope you're able to get in there. That is like our holiday present to you. So enjoy it. Let us know how it's going. And if you have any questions, I haven't dug around as much as I would have liked to, but as I continue to do that, I'll, you know, throw more things out there. But yeah, right now, you know, it's, you guys stayed on here with me today. So I was really happy to share that with you. And I hope it, gives you another resource to use in your classroom, which we know you so desperately need. Okay. Yep, definitely dig around, look at what's going on in there. If you find something exciting, let me know. So I'm going to share with you just your exit ticket today. You know, I like to know how we're doing over here in special ed math, and I'd like to know what you need. So if you need someone to come out to your school and model a lesson with your kids, someone to you know, talk, what would you like to know more about as far as the structures of equality? What would you like to see in a future PLC, and what would you like more support, training, or materials to support you? So I dropped that. That is the only exit ticket I have today. And we just talked about comparison word problems and the 3 types. Keep practicing with yourself and your students. It does take a while to learn to use the structures. And I am on here for any other questions that you have. Our latest special education math newsletter is out, and I will paste that here. One thing I'd love for some people to do, we recognize teachers in a Spotlight Award. So I'd love for you to nominate somebody in your school. And we'd love to come out and recognize a teacher who really does a good job with math. Sometimes we don't get to see it. And we know you guys are in the schools and seeing it. And we love to share a special treat with them and award them and recognize them for their hard work. So if no one has any other questions, that's all I have for you. This is the last PLC we'll have in December. We decided your brains needed a break until the new year. So Star Math will meet again on January 26th, and this one we'll have again on January 12th. And I really hope you all share some ideas as to what you'd like to see in future PLCs so that we can get a pretty good lesson together for you. And I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season.